Okay, these are the exercises on page 347. The first one says find the number of terms in each arithmetic sequence, which means we're finding n. So once again, it's an application of the same formula. It gives you a, it gives you tn, it gives you d. That formula I'm talking about is the number of terms equals a plus n minus 1 times d. An arithmetic sequence always follows this. So it gives you the variables in the first one, a equals 6, tn equals negative 30, and d equals negative 3. So we're plugging that in. 9a, a equals 6, so in this 6, tn equals negative 30, d equals negative 3, so it's n minus 1 times negative 3. And so that just plugs in all those variables into this formula. We have to solve for n, and that is the answer to 9a. I'm not going to solve for n here. That's something that a grade 8 could do, so you can do it too. Let's look at, well, the first 4 of them are all like that. You just plug in the values for the variables. It gets more complicated because they use decimals, but it's the same logic. In these two here, what they're doing is they're giving you the sequence. They're not telling you which one is which variable, but you can look at it and recognize it. I'll show you f here. 9f. Once again, in this one, we're just going to plug in the values for tn, a, and d, and we're going to calculate n. So in this one, a is 23. That's our first one. It goes down by negative 3 each time. So d is negative 3. And tn, or the terminal one, the last one, is negative 100. So for 9f, it's negative 100. A in this one is 23, and it goes down by negative 3 each time. So 23 plus n minus 1, and it descends by negative 3 each time. So that's the formula, and once again we're solving for n, and you can do that as any grade 8 could do, because that's the level of algebra that's there. Okay, let's look at number 10. Number 10 gives you the 6th term and the 18th term in this sequence. It tells you that the 6th term is 10 and the 18th term is 46. Well, if nothing else, we can tell that d is a positive value. So there's 12 terms separating the number 10 and the number 46. Let's see if we can apply this formula here. Tn, so T6, put it this way here, 10a. T6 equals 10. T18 equals 46. Let's try a little logic here. We know that T6 minus T5 is going to equal D. We know this because these are sequential terms, and by definition the distance between them is D. We know that T6 minus T4 equals 2D. It's going to be 2 steps between them. And look, the difference between the 6 and the 4 is also 2. Hint, hint. T6 minus T3 is going to give us 3D. We know this because T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, when we put them in our sequence like this, we know that the difference between each one of them is D. The distance between 2 of them is going to be 2D, and the distance between 3 of them is going to be 3D, because that's how it's all defined. So T6 minus T3 is 3D, so we could just take these little values and subtract one from the next, and it'll tell us the distance here. Well, that means that T18 minus T6 is going to equal 12D. That means that 46, which is the value of T18, minus 10, the value of T6, equals 12D. So 36 equals 12D, D equals 3. And if we know what D is, it's going to be relatively simple for us to find out the first term in the arithmetic sequence. So T18, let's pretend T18 is the last term of the sequence, will equal the first term plus n minus 1, or 17, which is 18 minus 1, times d. We know now that d is 3. So T18 equals a plus 17 times 3, which is 51. In other words, 46 equals a plus 51. A now equals negative 5. And that's a simple, once again, application of algebra. T18 was a times 17, which is n minus 1, times d. We know that d is 3. 17 times 3 is 51, so a plus 51 has to equal T18. T18 was 46. They gave that to us at the beginning. So 46 is a plus 51, and that means that a must be negative 5. So negative 5 plus 51 is 46. Let's do another one. That's not so easy. Here the fifth term is 3, the 25th term is negative 57. So T5 equals 3, T25 equals negative 57. So following the same logic we had before, we know that T25 minus T5 is going to equal 20D. It's going to be 20 steps, which means that negative 57 minus 3 equals 20D, negative 60 equals D, 20D, and that means that negative 3 equals D. So if we figured out negative 3 equals D, remember we're trying to find out A. We know the formula Tn equals a plus n minus 1d. Now that we know what d is, we can plug in either of these and we can calculate an a. I'm going to plug in the T5 here. So T5 equals a plus 5 minus 1, 4 times d, negative 3. So T5, which is 3, 3 equals a plus negative 12. So if 3 is a minus 12, then a must equal 15.